Okay, we are on air. Well, as you guys know, lately there's been a rash of Clown Car Posse members just spreading misinformation left and right. I mean, there's an epidemic going on. And so what I want to do is I want to have a hangout, maybe get some people in here that actually know the Bible, and talk about this ninth commandment because a lot of people just seem. Oh shit! Did it again. Well, as you guys know, lately there's been a rash of
Awesome.
I know, I do that all the time.
Me too.
It's without fail. It's like at least you know that I'm listening to the feed, right? That I do have it on, even though I have to turn it off or it'll kill my computer. But, anyways, so I actually put some biblical passages in the Google Plus. I'm not that familiar with the Bible. I've read most of it. I skipped the begat part because it's boring. But the ninth commandment is basically thou shalt not bear false witness, or thou shalt not bear a testimonial evidence against your neighbor, slander them, or lie, because there's other passages in the Bible that says lie. So
Right.
I kind of wanted to get you guys' take on this of how easy it is for the CCP to actually break it. And then they try to use excuses like, well, this only applies to your neighbor, or this is no longer applicable. Well, are you saying that the 10 commandments are not applicable anymore? Or that's the old covenant, the new covenant?
Yeah.
So, what do you
My
think?
understanding of it, if you don't mind me interrupting it, is that the 10 Commandments are the guidelines. They're not to be taken because they're part of the Old Testament, but that Jesus repeats them throughout the New Testament, in not in a specific list of 1 through 10, but he uses those teachings through
conceptually.
Yeah.
Well, if I can cut in on it, if you look at 1 Corinthians 6, 9 through 10, that's written by Paul, but it's still in the New Testament. And I do study the Bible because I'm a Christian. This is what I'm going to school for. It says that do not be deceived, no liar, thief, blasphemer, adulterer. Pretty much listing the 10 Commandments right there says that you shall not inherit the kingdom of heaven. So that right there goes through the 10 Commandments.
So there's worded differently in different places, but conceptually it's a theme throughout the Bible, I would say.
Right.
Okay. Because there's obviously in Exodus 20 there's a passage about it. There's Exodus 23, I think, there's a passage of Psalms that talks about thou shalt not be a deceiver, or have testimony against other people. So what is you, and Hunter? You used to be a young creationist, so you probably have better insight on this. But I don't think you ever did it, because can't even think of a single time that I've ever seen you do it. But you may have seen other people do it. Why do you think that these Clown Car Posse members are so okay with just leveling false charges against people and being slanderous against them, and outright lying in many cases? We know the cases of people lying about Fiona. We know that people have cases lying about myself, lying about Hogtie, being an obstructionist lately. That's the new thing, that he comes in just to disrupt hangouts.
Right.
So what do you think about this?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons why. Two things that pop up in my mind is, one, a lot of them, actually 3 of them. One of them, they're looking for attention. Two, they just heard wrong and they think they have to describe it.
You're roboticizing him a little bit. Actually,
you're cutting out a little bit, man.
Yeah, you're robotic. You want to just try reloading real quick? Or turn down your bandwidth? See if he turns down his bandwidth. Hey, John. Welcome, by the way. I kind of got what what he was saying, but I couldn't get most of it. But I know he was saying something along the times, a need for attention, along the lines of something about need for attention, which I agree. I think they do want the attention, and if they keep you preoccupied having to continually respond to these false charges, and it distracts from the fact that they're scientifically wrong. It's like, hey, look over here, don't look over here.
Right. And what I was also saying was need for attention doesn't always mean doesn't always means it has to be a positive way. Another one's miscommunication. Simply they just heard wrong and they chose what they wanted to hear. But also another one is just they just don't want to deny. They just don't want to deny that they're wrong. They just want to always be right, which that's very common in everybody's. Not just I've run into atheists who do that, where I've talked to them before, and they will not deny that they're wrong at all. Even Christians. I talked to a guy named I think his name's Edward Hill. Guy's a loony bin, just gonna be honest, and Lord forgive me for that one. But anyways, I mean, it's just like, just a lot of times they just don't want to be wrong, and that's where I kind of draw the line, because I'm all about seeking the truth. Because my motto is like, it doesn't matter what you believe, what matters is what's true. So that's how, just kind of where I feel like that's where a lot of people play it in. They just don't want to accept the truth. There's miscommunication, or they just want attention.
Yep, I think you're dead on that.
I do too. I think that some people think that being wrong on something is a sign of weakness, when in reality, if you can't admit you're wrong on some things when provided enough evidence, then you have problems. I mean, you are never going to learn anything. And most of us, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say it's delusional almost, because you have the facts right in front of you, you have the evidence right in front of you, but you still want to deny it. That's like saying, this nice Porsche is right in front of me, and then, showing it to somebody else saying, hey, look at this nice Porsche, and they saying, there's no Porsche in front of me. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's right here in front of you. Literally, there is a nice Porsche in front of me. That's why I said that. So.
Yeah. Or look, the sky's blue. Nuh-uh.
It's purple polka dot. Most of us are very, very infrequently wrong. I mean, I will admit that it has happened, of course. And when provided enough evidence, what do? We change our position, right? That's what the Great Debate Committee is about, and that's fine. People are allowed to change positions. I'll go back and forth between pragmatism and other couple theories of knowledge, or should be truth, every so often, depending on what I'm trying to argue. I don't think there's a problem with that, because you can't. There's no one size fits all, right? But when these people get locked into their ideological position, they are fixated on it. They cannot waver in any way, shape, or form, or is perceived as a weakness. For example, you just mentioned when evidence is given right in front of your face, right, Hunter? Okay. Right. Well, we just had this happen again with George Gio Torres, when everybody, like 10 people, were explaining to him that his pseudogene can have like regulatory functions, but it doesn't have its original function, which was like to code proteins. Everybody pointed this out to him, okay, and he's still, even though in his own paper that he cited, it says that the specific gene we're talking about is not a pseudogene, or should be is a pseudogene. He says it's not. It's confusing to people that are listening to like watching this, because he keeps on misquoting people. He keeps on saying, "Hey, Steve, you said this." I'm like, "No, that's not what I said. Go read it again." And I think it's deliberate. I think it's exception.
Well, and if you think about it,
right,
a lot of them think that if one thing is mistaken, or they have one mistaken thing, that kind of just knocks the dominoes down for the rest of their beliefs. So they have a grip tight on that thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's a chink in their armor. They think they admit they made a mistake.
I think like back to like the original question with like the 9th commandment or whatever. I think the greater picture is that people ultimately are human. And there's multiple studies that show it doesn't matter if you're Christian or you're not Christian. Like if you look at masturbation studies, like they're the same across the board. If you look at premarital sex, same across the board. Divorce rates, even in clergy, are over 50%. So I mean, I think that they don't necessarily follow the commandments more than any other person would.
Well, I would actually say, as far as it goes for the Clown Car Posse or evangelical apologists in general, how would a person put this to a proper empirical test? But it really does strike me that they're much more quick to attack somebody else personally. It's just funny as I saw the title of this hangout, and I went, that's funny, because I really noticed this. I was listening to True Empiricism's now deleted video on calling the atheists' experience, and it's funny how quickly in that video, like, he was complaining he didn't think his recent call to the atheist experience went well. I mean, I think he thinks he did a fine job, but they treated him poorly, and it was not a good conversation. And so he holds a hangout about it, where it's not hangout, it's himself. Just wait, you guys. 2 more minutes, okay? Get ready, and I'll be there in 2 minutes. And it's amazing, you watch that video, how quickly he goes to, well, he kept changing his position, dictionary definition, whatever. But now let's look at Matt Dillahunty personally and see what a jerk this guy is. And he starts playing a bunch of clips of things like where, in one clip, Matt's talking about one point in his life where he was studying, like really took Christianity seriously, and was studying to be a pastor. And then he shows another clip where Matt's talking about a phase in his life in college where he was not really so much into religion. He was Christian, he had faith, but he really wasn't so much into religion. And he's like, so which is it? So which is it? You see how this guy's a liar? Okay, no, I don't, because it was obvious he was talking about two different things. And anyway, so what? If you're here, and like late in that hangout, he's scolding people for, I noticed people are posting comments unrelated. Nobody wants to talk about this call. I see you must not have anything to complain about this call because, well, no, you just did a whole hangout where you guys, where you were talking about other things that Matt Dillahunty said to other people on other occasions. And it's sort of a light bulb went on for me. I just realized, like, you almost get used to it with these guys. You almost get used to how every conversation has got to be about how people who disagree with them are bad in some way and are just liars, like that, just have true, not just mistaken or not just told a lie on an occasion, but have true character defects. And to wrap up on this point, the whole reason I popped in here was to make this point that when they're in a discussion with somebody, I mean, they will to some extent talk about the material, but whether they do or not, what they will do, what they must do, is to make sure that they point out the character defects in the other person, even if they have to make them up.
Oh, absolutely, and they do make them up. And even if they had a legit argument, I don't see using a person's character defects against a scientific claim.
Well, there's always that risk of. There's one thing I've noticed that we've done a couple of times that. Where it kind of borders on the ad hominem fallacy. Like, if Ronnie ever says something to me about how some protein assembly mechanism requires some backcoding pattern across the board, something, and I don't know specifically which mechanism he's talking about. He might refer to a particular enzyme name or something, but he'll mention something, and not everybody knows everything. So, okay, so I don't know what he's talking about on that specific occasion. I feel justified in pointing out that, like, this guy's been wrong 100% of the time about everything he says.
That's a little bit different. That's a pattern. That's a pattern, though.
That's a pattern. That's right. That's why I say it's funny. I chuckle as I say this because I'll recognize intrinsic in that is from deductive logic. That would be a fallacy. If there was somebody who 100% of, like, every time they told you something, like you asked them a bunch of yes or no questions, true or false questions, and the 99 times you ask them these questions, they got it wrong. They're just this person's reliably wrong, and then the 100th time they give you a true-false answer. Does that mean that they're wrong the 100th time? Obviously, well, by deductive logic, if your response was to say, well, you've been wrong 99 times before, so therefore you're wrong this time, by deductive logic, that clearly is an ad hominem fallacy, because you're saying the source of this true-false statement is a person who just gave 99 wrong answers.
Right.
But inferentially, it's pretty satisfying.
Yeah, I don't mind with inferential, and I don't mind provisional. I mean, there's nothing wrong with you saying, well, based upon your prior experience with the person, the fact that they have been consistently, unequivocally wrong, I think about 100% of the time, you could hold something provisionally saying, well, you know what, I'm not going to really accept this till I get further information and just not take what they say at face value. Now, of course, if you say yes, they're wrong because they've always been wrong, that's of course a fallacy.
Right. It's a genetic fallacy at that. But an inferential, using logical inference to it is perfectly fine.
Yeah, and to sharpen the point a little bit too, especially when it comes to their claims about other people's character. I don't see every minute of every hangout. I try to, luckily people will point out to me, oh, did you see this thing at 3.5 hours into so-and-so's hangout? And I find that helpful because I like this stuff. It's kind of soap opera-like. So I kind of like to catch those parts. But I miss so much of it. And sometimes I'll get on and I was like, okay, what are all these little meme posters? Like, what happened now? Like, what happened yesterday that people find so funny, And if I ask somebody, can you just put it in a nutshell for me? What's that? Like what?
Like Jungle.
Yeah, I miss. Yeah. So if somebody says, "Oh well, True Empiricism accused Sam the Scientist of lying about something," Well, Lord help me on the day that Sam the Scientist actually lies about something and true empiricism catches it on it and quite honestly calls out Sam for lying.
Well,
Because I won't believe it.
Right?
I simply won't believe it.
Good luck with
actually,
it, right?
I believe it could happen, but only
Sure.
because true empiricism is going to call a lie on any one of his statements. That one of them is probably bound to do that.
Well, no, because Sam's. I don't.
Averages.
But there's a difference of intent or not. You know, Sam can be mistaken, but he's going to call it a lie.
Max,
all be
that's a
mistaken.
lie.
That is true. I
Max
mean,
is lying.
I mean, look at Talking Shit Tuesday the other day when Matt came in and he's accusing everybody of lying. He said that JD was lying about lowering his volume. He said that what happened in my hangout that we were lying about when we were keep explaining to him that he completely was wrong. So they do tend to have a default position of, oh, you're naturally lying, when they don't have any inferential to draw upon. They don't have any kind of thing to say, oh, well, Steve and Fiona and Hogtie and the rest of us are lying consistently. They don't have any evidence that we've lied about anything, in fact.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Just because you said lowering the volume, just one other quick note. In that now deleted hangout on the calling the atheists experience, one of the complaints that True Empiricism has about his appearance on there is that Matt Dillahunty lowered his volume, and like 30 seconds after he says that, he's like, "Oh, and I know that he did it. I know he did it because if you got somebody calls in and they can hold his feet to the fire, they got to do every trick they can. Like they'll lower his volume. So not only does he know that Matt Dillahunty lowered the volume, but he knows the motivation why Matt Dillahunty lowered his volume. What he doesn't seem to know is that Matt Dillahunty doesn't control the volumes. And what's really funny is that he even said. Shortly after that, he says, and I know that Matt Dillahunty lowered my volume because I was a little quiet last time, so I turned the gain way up on my microphone.
Well, they may have turned him down.
I thought the best part of that whole call was after Drew rambles on for a minute. He was like,
yeah, I mean, they do
he
have.
was like, that made no sense at all.
I mean, I'm assuming they have a studio engineer, and so that might be true. They might, if he turned his gain all the way up, obviously they might have turned it down to, because if not, it's going to be like blasting out when you have it going over the airwaves. You have a high audio, right?
Is that video still up by any chance? I like to go check that out.
Somebody, I'm sure, has it.
yeah.
We always make copies of these things.
If y'all find it, send me a link like ASAP.
Right. Well, I mean, True Empiricism has accused people of lying merely for sharing their opinions, not for even matters of fact. I remember after me and True Empiricism engaged on a one-on-one hangout, Sam came out and said, wow, I think Max did the best out of anyone in challenging True Empiricism because he constantly held his feet to the fire on such and such an issue. And then in came True Empiricism and accused him of being a liar, just on the matter of opinion alone.
Well, I think the reason why some would just start attacking the person themselves is because they realize that they're losing, and it kind of comes as a defense mechanism to where they think that by calling people names and everything, that'll weaken the person and make it seem like they're trying to intimidate them. But the thing is that an insult is not an argument. So when you automatically make an insult, you automatically lose by default.
No, I don't think so. I like insulting.
So, I mean, there are sometimes arguments where an insult is justified. It's like.
Sure.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about like if you got facts in front of the other person, and the other person comes back and just starts insulting and calling you.
Of course.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one.
But how do you lie about your opinion? Now, I guess you could give somebody your opinion and not really have that true opinion. I don't know why you would, but I'm sure there could be cases like, let's say, you just don't want to really talk about something, so you're just going to say, yeah, I accept that, or I don't, whatever, just to move on. But you can't really lie about your opinion,
though, right?
Yeah.
Like being devil's advocate or playing
exactly.
the keep it moving. That's a little different than just lying.
Sure, but if you ask me my opinion on something, right? Generally, most people are going to give their opinion. They're not going to lie about their opinion and to tell you something contrary to what they actually think, unless you're Godless Girl or or Matt Bell. Other than them. Because they're the constant contrarian. Other than that, most people give their actual opinion.
Yeah, Matt Bell was the one on my mind.
Do you think there's any
We spent an hour with him, and then I was like, "You really don't believe this, do you?" And he was like, "Well, no."
Yeah, he does that all the time. Awesome. I mean, he spent like at least an hour or more just writing critique on one of my hangouts that I don't think he believed any of it. Because at the end of one of them, he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, yes, Steve, okay, you were right." But I just wanted to get to the bottom of it, and I'm like, holy crap.
Do you think there's any merit to the charge from True Empiricism about Mount Dillhunty, where he'll say that someone will call in who's not very intellectually bright, I guess, and they'll bring up something to do with evolution, and Matt will kind of assert it to be the case, and then True is basically saying then he calls in and wants to actually discuss it, then Matt backs off at that point. So he's basically going for low-hanging fruit whenever it comes to evolution.
No,
Do you think there's any merit to that?
No, because he really. I watched the show. I think I've seen most episodes, going back a lot of years. Matt is pretty regular in the fact that he'll discuss it a little bit, but it doesn't really get into too much detail, and does assert it because that's the scientific consensus. But he can recognize when somebody's going down that rabbit hole and just take it down another path. That's completely fine for somebody to do that.
And he has a bunch of canned responses for the majority of callers that call in with things like that.
Yes.
It's the rare callers that actually have some kind of knowledge on it.
Yeah, I do think True Empiricism is inserting a lot of his own thinking about what other people think about him. I think that if you just listen to how he describes that phenomenon, that it's specifically that Matt will talk to somebody who doesn't know much about evolution, but will not want to talk with evolution with somebody who's knowledgeable enough to hold his feet to the fire, is that he seems to read into it that Matt takes the call, and then Matt Dillahunty's like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. I mean, this is the mighty True Empiricism, and like honestly,
those words have never been spoken. In reference to Clown Car Posse members. So.
I only agree with what you're saying, Hogtie, because and Steve knows this. I just know the broad strokes of this. I don't know any esoteric, specialized knowledge in any specific fields. I think I've talked with you even on a Hogtie, and once it starts getting into those kind of specifics, I'm like, well, you need to go talk to a scientist. You need to defer to some kind of expert on this.
But it doesn't even matter when they do. I mean, they'll talk to Fiona or they'll talk to Sam, and they'll still be at a literally a grade school understanding, and they just cannot conceptually grasp these things.
Yeah, at least those like Fiona or you or Hogtie can.
I'm not nowhere near an expert. I'm a good layperson. I'm happy to be a layperson. But I was just gonna say real quick, if Hogtie has a pretty good way of explaining things, but if they go to Fiona. Again, Fiona's going to talk to them as a person who has a scientific background, and they just get confused. None of them understand Fiona when she explains something to people. Hell, one time it took about 3 times for her to explain even to me because it was complicated, right? It had to do with some knockout genes, and it had to do with going into stasis, and I wasn't grasping it, and nobody else was either, so I don't feel bad. But finally, we understood. But if they can't understand basic stuff, I mean, they can't understand phylogeny, for God's sake, then going to a scientist is not going to be conducive to help them understand something.
Right. Sorry, I just wanted to address that specific point that I think it was John had brought up, that I sort of see where True Empiricism gets the impression that those guys in the show, and specifically Matt Dillahunty, will talk about evolution with some people and not with other people. I do like the way that Xbox put it, or was it Steve, that said it's about not going down the rabbit trail. So if somebody calls in and they're just sort of in general talking about issues like, well, I don't understand how you can be an atheist. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that you're an atheist. Like, for example, how do you explain where all this stuff comes from? Like, where do goats and people and life itself, like, where does this come from? And he'll say, well, we have the theory of evolution. And it's like, yeah, but that doesn't work because a dog doesn't turn into a cat. And he's like, well, that's not what it says. And he will, I think it was Steve who said it, he has some canned responses. He will say, like, well, look, you don't understand it. It's about common ancestry, and he might sort of describe it in the broadest strokes. Mm-hmm. And if asked to justify it, he'll say, well, look, that's the scientific consensus. If you really want to get into why we believe common ancestry to be the case, then there are ways you can look into this. There's some great websites you can look at, Talk Origins, and you can talk to these other people. But I'm not here to defend that. So then when he has somebody who calls in, and that's their entire, why, thank you. That's the entire purpose of their call, is to debate, well, I'm going to grill you on the scientific merits and the evidentiary basis for this scientific theory. He's going to say, well, no. Like, listen to the last guy I told that I understand the broad strokes of it, but I'm not going to bicker about it with you on the details of it. So now you're calling in, and that's all you want to talk about, so I'm going to shut this down now. Yep. To me, that's a distinction they draw reliably across all callers. And True Empiricism's impression that he's like, oh, he just detected so quickly that I'm so awesome at this stuff, he knew he was going to be beat. Come on.
He's a legend in his own mind. He's delusional. I mean, the guy is so inept, and he actually thinks he knows what he's talking about. That to me is just disturbing.
He is the Don Quixote of YouTube, of apologetics.
Oh, he's tilting at the what evolution is, the windmills then?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I get the reference. Yeah, he doesn't know his own limitations, and the fact that he doesn't even understand that everybody that does know a little about this topic continually tells him he's wrong, and yet he's just asserting, "Oh, look it, I have no formal education on this, and I don't really,
now he's saying
know that much about it per se."
Well, that's like Nephilim. We've told Nephilim over and over to go get a paper published. We've even had people in the field that are atheists tell Neph to write up a paper, and they'll publish it for him.
He doesn't know the difference between potential and kinetic energy. Okay, you think he's really qualified to write a paper?
I gotta say, when I just joined into the conversation, one of the first things I did was that my basic understanding of any of the topics discussed, what I did was that I threw it all out the window and started over, because I didn't want my basic skewed understanding of any of these things to affect what I might learn from you guys in terms of the specifics. Does that make sense?
I tell people to do that all the time. If you look at my comments to people, you know how many times I tell people, you know what, just forget everything you think you know about this topic, especially evolution, and start from basics. I mean, literally, just forget everything you know, because it's easier to start from the beginning and just learn things from fresh point of view rather than to correct bad habits and bad information.
Yeah, because my idea of how the theory of evolution worked was completely different than it was than it is now. I'm not gonna lie.
And that's what we tell members of the CCP. They really have a misunderstanding of it.
It makes more sense to me.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry to interrupt, but I got to step out. So,
all right. Come back later.
Xbox and Wayne, Odin. So I do want to listen while I'm outside. We're just going to do a little sort of walk around the building here. I was kind of hoping. I'm expecting. I was hoping Veckel had come in and then he stepped away for a minute. So for the audience, he's back now. I was kind of hoping to sort of hear his side of it, but I do sort of want to preempt a little bit of a thing here that I hope he's not here to sort of say, well, I have to defend this guy because he's a brother in Christ, or to complain about people arbitrarily and subjectively attacking someone else's personality, because there's been nothing in here about that. It is really discussing, and I don't want to let him get away with this. This has been about addressing specific behavior. So I will continue to listen offline, and hopefully it doesn't go that way, or you guys don't let him get away with it.
Cool. Good talking to you, Hog.
Yeah, come back when we're finished your stuff.
Yeah. By the way, can I just make one comment on what Hogtie just said?
Mm-hmm.
If there was one word I wish everyone would remove from their vocabulary, it would be subjective and objective, and have them relearn that, because that is the word everybody misappropriates. Like, how do you're subjectively judging someone? Of course. Like, do people use, like, there is no such thing as an objective measure of judgment, because judgment pertains to subjective beings. Like a cell phone can't opine on which is better, chocolate or vanilla.
Is that objective? Your judgment there?
Yeah, is that objective, dude? No, I mean, I get what you're saying, but no, we understand the difference. We know how to use them, and I don't see a problem with people.
I'm not pointing any fingers at.
If I ask you, do you like vanilla or ice cream? It's a subjective opinion. Vanilla or chocolate, it's a subjective opinion, right?
Right.
But anyways, Veckel was asking, how do you not know what the CCP is? The Clown Car Posse is basically a coinage by Alex Botman to talk about people like G-Man, True Empiricism, Nephi. No offense to you, Veckel, because you're one of the lesser members only for the fact that you do know your Bible very well. That's why I wanted you in here. I wanted to get a biblical person. But as far as science, you were definitely a member of the Clown Car Posse. No offense. But we were talking about the ninth commandment and how easily many of these people break it, because they're constantly levying charges against people, and then being proved that their charges are unsubstantiated and correct. I mean, just recently, George Torres was saying that I never graduated from nuke school. True empiricism is saying that said I was a practicing Jew. He said that I said I had a PhD in biology. NeoCloud, who's a member of the CCP, said I have a degree in nuclear physics or a background in nuclear physics. Well, I do have a background in nuclear physics. Okay, but I had a degree in nuclear physics. What's some other things they said?
Gay men once accused people who don't follow the King James Bible only as supporting the Queen James Bible. Beckel should know that one. He was there.
I don't remember that one. Accusing Fiona of having an affair. I mean, these things are consistent with the Clown Car Posse. So I want to know is, how does that not violate the Ninth Commandment? And why is not their brothers calling people out to stop accusing people of something with no evidence?
Well, have you read Matthew 18?
I probably have. It could refresh my memory.
Remove the log from your own eye before you attend to the speck of your neighbor's.
No.
Okay.
No. 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 Matthew 18 is about if your brother or sister commits a sin, you approach him in private.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, I'm aware of that one. Yeah, well, that doesn't happen either, though. But I mean, that's not.
How do you know that?
Because they still do it, and
if it's supposed to be done in private, why would anybody tell you about it?
Why would they continue to do it?
It's that it keeps getting repeated afterward.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
Wait, stop. If it's being repeated, okay, that still doesn't answer the question though, whether or not somebody is actually saying something to these people.
So here's an analogy.
That is the question. Why isn't someone saying something? If someone was saying something, they wouldn't be repeating it.
Wait a minute. You're not answering the question. Why isn't the only people that seem to be saying stuff about it in public are you guys?
I will address it.
But wait a minute. What I'm asking you is that how do you know that nothing at all is being said to these people?
I will address that. We have no indication.
Let me say something. Go ahead. Sorry.
There is no indication that anybody is doing this. If there are people doing this, it is ineffective because you're continually. Wait. Let me answer, Beckel. Again, there is no indication that we have that there is, and if I will give you, for the sake of arguendo, that there are people correcting them, it has no effect because they're still doing it.
So,
and at the same time, how is that an answer to Steve's question of whether or not this is breaking the Ninth Commandment?
Yes.
Okay, wait.
Is it breaking the Ninth Commandment?
I'm getting to that. But first of all, let me just point out to you that neither one of you in here has been able to validate that any other brothers or sisters in Christ have approached these people in private about.
I said for the sake of argument, let's say assume that they have.
So right. Yeah. If wait a minute, I'm going to get to the other point too, why I brought up Matthew 18 in the first place. But you guys if you want to act like you guys are empiricists and that you only base things off of what you see, feel, taste, and touch, and smell, and all that other stuff.
That's not empiricism.
Then you cannot say that no one is saying anything to these people.
I just said assume that they are.
Okay, right.
Assume that they are. It's ineffective because they're still doing it. Beckel, let me ask.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Is it breaking the Ninth Commandment? First of all,
I'm gonna finish my statement after you.
Yeah. Let Beckel finish real quick, and then.
Well, we should determine if it's breaking the Ninth Commandment at first.
Okay,
I think that's where it starts.
But yes. I'm getting to that. But you got to stop interrupting.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. All I'm saying is that when you make a claim that no one is saying anything to these people about it, you don't have that ability to know that for sure, unless those people who
we've already moved past that. We've already established. For the sake of the argument, they are.
I just wanted to put that on the table, so you don't have that.
Sure. All right.
Now,
fine. Let's say they are.
The reason why I bring up Matthew 18 is because that is what we as Christians are supposed to do. As far as the Ninth Commandment, okay, bearing false witness. Okay, well, again. What we're talking about here are fallible and finite people who make mistakes, just like you guys.
That has nothing to do with anything, Beckel. They are consistently.
Ask me about the Ninth Commandment.
Yes, but they are consistently violating it, and they are never. Okay, Gio apologized, and I will give him credit for this. Gio was the only member of the CCP ever to apologize to me, and he was weak, but he apologized for making a false statement.
Here, let me ask this.
Why do you call people clowns? Why should anybody be obligated to apologize
Because
to
they're commanded to. If they bear false witness and they slander somebody,
but you don't go by that standard.
I'm not saying that I do,
So
but I
wait,
will.
Standard, though.
So
So
you're
that standard means nothing to you, though.
wait,
No,
wait.
Doesn't matter. That's what they should do.
First
It's
of all,
behavior
that's-
they
that's-
should-
Yeah, I agree. That's what they should do.
Wait, that's an
However,
assertion
you
that you
don't-
cannot
you
substantiate
don't go
because
by that. You
if
don't
I
go by
do,
that standard.
well, if I do, yes, I do. I have something called personal integrity, and if I slander somebody incorrectly, I will apologize. I don't need a biblical verse to tell me this. Okay, I will do this.
But you brought up the biblical verse, though.
Yes, but it's
Hey,
there.
I'll even go to the extent where if they just feel like that I slighted them, that I will apologize,
but
even
it's
if I
there-
don't even
this
feel
is-
like I did something wrong.
Yeah, this is their code of. This is what their morality. This is what they live by. This is exposing hypocrisy. If they're going to say they're going to be Christian and then willy-nilly break the ninth commandment and arbitrarily do so without any recourse or remorse when they're wrong, because they are consistently
I agree
wrong.
with you. If they're lying, of course they violate.
Well, then you know they're lying, Veckel, don't you? Okay, first of all,
who's lying about what? I have no idea what you're talking about.
okay, again, let me repeat. I gave instances. Have I ever said that I was a practicing Jew, Orthodox Jew?
I don't know. I don't follow you guys. Come on, man.
Okay,
Did
so
G-Man ever become an atheist, actually?
What?
Did G-Man ever actually
let's go
become an
back a few
atheist?
Look, I ain't gonna talk about
Chocolate
that.
was.
Did
Yeah,
Fiona have an affair with Alex Bob?
Next topic. G-Man already covered that.
Let's keep it modern. Let's keep it modern. Okay, guys, let's keep it
Okay,
modern.
G-Man said that all atheists want to kill Christians.
There
Okay,
you
yeah.
go.
Is that
Sure.
true?
Yeah, I would say no, that's not true.
Okay, how about...
I believe that to be the case. Anyway,
Dude,
You believe that we want to kill Christians.
I believe that to be the case. I don't know
Who
if
wants-
that's true
who-
or not.
So you're engaging in some mind reading right now.
Are
You
you
think I
fucking
physically want to
kidding
murder
me?
If you
somebody?
want, Jake. I'm just saying. I'm just being honest with you, brother.
Okay, Veckel,
I believe. I don't believe any of you
can you give me...
want to kill atheists. I mean, Christians. I said I
you
believe
would
it, but I
come
don't
into
really-
a hangout with somebody
I don't
who you
really.
think
I
wants
don't
to
really
physically
know that
murder
for
you.
sure or not. I
Veckel,
don't-
can you give us a name? Can you give us a name of somebody who wants to kill somebody because they're Christian or
Wait,
G-Man?
give us the name of who?
Give us a person's name that you think wants to kill Christians or G-Man.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. So it's
I would say, maybe
unsubstantiated. So
atheism is
this-
unstoppable. He's one. I would think.
He's not in our community. I've never. He's
Yeah,
never been.
but he's an atheist though.
Who gives a shit if he's an atheist? He's
Yeah,
not part of
nobody-
our. He's
Doesn't
not,
matter.
He's no
Doesn't
friend
matter.
of mine.
You asked a
He's
general
not-
question about atheists wanting to.
I meant in our community.
You didn't
in our
say
community.
specific a community or anything.
Well, here's another question. Which atheist in our community, our little circle,
better
do you
question.
think wants to kill you?
Better question. Yeah. I don't believe anybody in that I've talked to personally has that. notion.
Excuse me. Hello.
Oh no, it's Sid.
Well, I would just say that only if I use Christian torture methods would I kill you.
Iron Maiden. Is it
Correct.
yeah. But my idea of torture would be listening to
Nice mantra on your screen, by the way, Sid. But go ahead.
listening to anything but Iron Maiden. That's
Seems
torture.
to be just a
Get out of
statement
my
of
mind.
fact.
But Veckel, let's say for the sake of argument, okay, because you say that you don't follow, blah blah blah. Let's say for argumento's sake, though, I've had true empiricism accuse me of telling people that I have a PhD in biology. Okay,
Mhm.
we know that's not true. You know that I would never do that. You know me well enough to know that's bullshit. Okay, but again, it is breaking the ninth commandment, and we also know that.
Well, there's a difference between lying and misspeaking.
No, that's
No, that's not a misspeak.
Is it
not a
possible that he misunderstood your position and said
No.
that?
No, because he's been corrected, and he still and they still haven't apologized.
What I actually see going on here.
But you have.
Hang on. Let me just break this down and so that everyone can understand. A lie would be a mistake would be a one-time thing. You make a mistake, someone comes out and says, actually, this is the case, and you say, oh, my bad, I apologize, and then you move on from there. What we actually see happening from G-Man and True Empiricism is that they say something wrong, we correct them, and they keep doing that wrong thing over and over and over again, even though we have corrected them over and over and over again.
You haven't corrected it because
that means there is intent to spew the crap.
Yeah.
No,
they don't listen.
I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, even atheists as well. So it's possible that they just constantly keep forgetting this stuff, and they just They have.
Oh, come on, Becco. That's really. Wait, you're going to say that they constantly forget things? Like I not. Wait,
well,
wait.
I mean, come
really?
on now. When you guys accuse the CCP of lying about such things, don't you think that you guys fall in the same category? I mean, how many times have I have to tell you guys about my issue on slavery and
when have I ever talked to you about slavery?
About me and
what
stuff?
What have I lied about?
Tell you how many times I had to explain myself regarding that issue.
Well, that's not to me. What have I lied about, Becco?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
I'm constantly correcting you guys about stuff, and you know, people. I just give people the benefit down. Either they're lying or they're consistently forgetting.
There's differences in opinions, right? You can say the Bible. Wait, let me finish. You can say that the Bible says this, and you can correct them in what you think that the Bible says. But if I misrepresented your position, and I say, you know what, Becco's pro-slavery. Becco thinks that we should go back to slavery, and I keep doing that over and over and over again, slandering you. That would be a problem, and if people doing that, I would be all over their ass for that. I'd be like, no, Becco does not think that, and why would you slander Becco like that? I would defend you, okay? Because I know that's not your position.
Well, Steve, I can't really defend you because I don't really follow you. I don't know what you're doing outside of conversations like this. I mean, so I don't know. I mean,
Becco, don't you think that could be an honest, plausible construal of your position, where I don't know for a fact what your position actually is, and I'm trying to dishonestly convince somebody of its antithesis? I think an honest construal of your opinion is that you do support slavery in some terms. A plausible one. Maybe it might not actually be true, but it's plausible.
Are we changing subjects now, or what are we doing?
No.
Well, I don't want to get bogged down on a slavery thing, but I mean, I
don't mind talking about it, but
it's another time. Let's stick with
the break in the next clusterfuck.
I wasn't trying to bring that up. I was trying to bring up a different point. I'm saying, is it not a plausible construal of your position, the thing you're saying that they're being dishonest about?
Yeah, it's possible.
I'm saying, is it plausible? Is it you think it's likely?
No, I don't. No, I don't believe it. But like I said, I do believe that Christians are no longer, no more perfect than anybody else.
Nobody's claiming they are, but Becco, I'll hear you. I'll listen to you in some hangouts. You'll go into these hangouts, and whenever any of these people bear false witness, you're right there as a cheerleader going, yep, every time.
Yep, you're doggone right. But you know what? When it comes to things like accusing you of being having a PhD or whatever that is, do you see me saying yay or nay to that? No.
No, it's opposite of that.
Why would I yay or nay something that I don't know about?
Well, you've done it before, Becco.
I've seen you cheerlead things that people have said something.
Steve, whenever you see me speak in the True Empiricisms Hangout, it's always in the format of a question or my own personal observation. It is never an assertion made like what you're trying to accuse these guys of.
You've done it before.
Oh yeah.
He has it to me. I will say that I've never heard Becco say that to me. I will admit that.
Yeah, I mean, you've done
video and a timestamp, sir. Yes.
You've done it before, is what I'm trying to say.
I would like to see a video and a timestamp whenever you get.
All right. I can actually. I don't know the name of the video, but I can tell you exactly the instance when it happened. So you'll have to go back like maybe a year ago of this.
So you're saying.
Let me go ahead and just tell you when it was, and then you can actually maybe bring up the situation in your head. Remember when G-Man was going on and on about how I am not a weak atheist and that I somehow am asserting that God definitely 100% does not exist in every single situation, for every single person, for every single god or gods that have ever been thought of?
I don't believe you're a weak atheist, no.
And there you go. Point proven. Thank you, guys.
Well, what point have you proved?
That you're talking out of your ass, and there you go.
I'm talking about an observation. How am I lying about it?
Because wait a minute.
I'm speaking based off an observation. Hello.
Yeah, you haven't made that observation though. That's what you think you're seeing, and when I correct you on it over and over and over again, you keep spouting on this bullshit.
Like that. It's not my problem that you're not consistent with your own worldview.
No. It's not my problem that you can't understand what the fuck I'm talking about.
Well.
Becco can have his opinion, but he only needs to base his opinion.
Exactly. It's my opinion based off of my
say it's an opinion and not a fact.
Yeah, I mean, well, you did say.
No.
I mean, if you say something like, "Well, Reds is a weak atheist," that's different than saying,
you look
"In my
like a
opinion,
weak
I
atheist,
think
man.
he is." There's a kind of a difference there.
I mean, you look like a strong atheist. That's all I'm saying.
No. You have to understand the difference there, because when I say I'm a weak atheist, what I actually assert is I don't assert that every single God that's ever been conceived doesn't exist. How can I possibly know that? I wasn't there before the Big Bang.
I would ask that question.
However, what I do assert is that the arguments for God's existence suck ass, and that is my limit. Now, when it comes to certain versions of God, I can legitimately say that some versions of God don't exist because they're inconsistent or they're self-contradictory. But that is not a strong atheist. A weak atheist would be the one to intellectually, honestly say that, look, I don't know if there is this big magical being in the sky. I haven't seen him. And until I actually get evidence to actually see the fucktard actually exist, I'm not going to say, yes, he does exist, absolutely. How is that an intellectually dishonest position to have?
I have to listen to the conversation again to see why I accuse you of being dishonest. So,
is it? I think I know why, but oh well.
Real quick, Netflix is going to drop. Netflix is going to drop so Fiona can get here so she can share her story. I don't know if we've talked about Fiona and G-Man lying about her, but
right.
come in. Go ahead.
You're fine, Stan. I've got to drop for a minute anyway.
Wait, before Fiona comes in, I just want to bring something up to the example of how do we know this isn't being discussed in private. One brother pointing this out to another brother. Well, imagine if you were the principal at a school and you had repeated difficulty with one of the children, and one of the parents kept reassuring you that no, he's being dealt with at home over and over and over again. In that instance, you would highly doubt that because the behavior could be just as bad or maybe even getting worse.
Yeah, and I highly doubt it. I highly doubt. I'm very skeptical that anybody's ever gone to them and say, by the way, you said this about Steve or Fiona or any of us, and you guys were wrong.
First of all, there's two things. Number one, just because you're not seeing any results, that doesn't mean no one is saying anything.
I'm not. Okay, Vecco, you keep on misunderstanding.
Wait a minute.
Wait. Let me finish. You're not understanding. Vecco, you're not understanding this. You're missing the point.
Wait, I just want to say my other point, too, in response to what Epi just said. Again, you have to understand, too, that just because you talk to somebody about something, that doesn't mean that they're going to be consistently following what you advise them to do or not do.
I'm not saying that they will, but there's been no evidence. There's been no. Okay, it doesn't appear that nobody's ever talked to them. Now I'm not stating for a fact that nobody's ever talked to them. I'm not stating that.
Okay,
so your client, so what you're saying is irrelevant. I'm not stating it as a fact that people have never talked to them.
Well,
I'm saying there's definitely no indication.
It's only irrelevant if you're saying that no one is saying.
I have no idea if anybody has or not.
Oh, okay, great.
I can't prove that. I am saying that there's no evidence to support that they are. Do you understand?
Going back to the analogy I gave earlier, would that principal be wrong in assuming that nothing's being done at home? Would he? Because this is done by educators. Not only that, but this is actually a valid inference. It's called modus tollens. If P then Q. If you see something, then you should expect something else. But if you don't, if that thing that follows doesn't happen, then you could also assume that the initial thing P also doesn't happen. So if we really believe that brothers calling each other out for terrible behavior produces results, and we don't see those results, then we could assume that no brother is calling out one another, or at least we have very good reason to believe so.
Max, can I kind of capitalize on that?
Logic.
Max, can I capitalize on that real quick?
Go right ahead.
Because when I watch a few of G-Man's Hangouts, the thing is said, just because you don't see it happening right in front of your face, that doesn't mean it isn't happening after all. That may be true, but unfortunately, all the people that are in the Hangout that have the capability of calling them out in private are actually cackling like little bitches with them. That's not. I'm sorry, but how can you be calling them out and yet be acting in the group just like that, just like they are?
Yeah, I mean that's what you do. You're like you even said, you're a cheerleader to support all this misinformation that they're putting out and all this accusations they made. And by the way,
if anyone's
Simon,
calling them out, they're not in the Hangout. If anyone's calling them out, they're not in the Hangout because the people we see in the Hangout are actively supporting the lies that are spewing from the CCP.
Yeah, Simon, I made a spot for Fiona. Can you come back later, Simon?
Yes, no problem.
When was the last time you approached somebody in private?
Cheerleading the.
Veckel, let me ask. I'm gonna ask
Can you finally correct TE about DNA and water, Veckel?
Can you give us one lie that? Can you give us one?
I posted after responding to G-Man when he said that he was going to staple my docs all over New Jersey. You were there, dipshit.
But did he actually do it?
Yeah, that's what he said he was going to do. And you
wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait. You told me that he actually did do it.
I didn't say that.
He didn't say that.
Okay, but wait. How are you going to accuse me of cheerleading it on if he actually did do it?
Okay, so he lied then.
You were cheerleading his.
Wait, did I cheerlead him on? Wait, first of all, let me just make sure that we're not talking past each other. Did I cheerlead him for doing the actual deed? Yes or no?
Let me repeat the assertion so you can respond to it correctly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. When I asked you if G-Man said this, not did, said this, would you call him out on it? You said yes. And then I said, okay, why didn't you call him out on it when you were in the Hangout and he actually said he would do that? And you said that, well, I wasn't there. Yes, you were. Here you are.
Okay, but I'm trying. No. From what you said earlier, you made it sound like I was hip hopping and haranguing something that he actually did. And that's what I'm saying. No, that is not true.
So if he threatens to do it, it's okay.
Well, he wasn't actually.
If he actually did it, I would definitely
threatening to rape the girl. So it's okay if I was encouraging it.
Good job, Max.
Well, if he actually did it, I would definitely say something.
No. So the threat doesn't matter. It's only when he gets past the point where you can stop it before the fact that all of a sudden it gets out of shit, right?
When G-Man says stuff like that, I don't take him seriously. I don't think he's going to follow up on his word on doing that.
Oh, so he's lying?
That's exactly what I just said. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
If he claims he's going to do it and doesn't,
so what's your point?
I get you to believe he did.
If he lies about something, what's your point?
We're trying to ask you why they're not reined in when they lie, and they lie consistently.
Reined in by
when they
by their
threaten
brothers
to
in
do
Christ.
Did I already tell you?
Well, because
the problem is that.
Beckel, if someone were to say in this Hangout right now, Hogtie Champ, I'm going to use you as an example, not that I think you would do this. If Hogtie Champ said, Beckel, I have all your docs. I know exactly where you live. I know exactly where you work. I even have your credit card numbers, your social security numbers, and I am going to drop the ever-living shit out of that information. I'm going to staple it all over my city in Canada, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. You know damn straight that I would be the first one to jump down Hogtie's throat and say, no, motherfucker, don't do that. Mm-hmm. But what you're saying right now is that, oh, I'm not going to call him out on that unless he actually does it, unless it's too fucking late.
Well, it depends on who's saying it. If it's a person who I'm not familiar with, I am going to speak on it.
Continuing from that analogy, say Hogtie does that, and then he doesn't go through with it. He just wanted you to believe that he was going to, so that you would get anxious or apprehensive, okay? And then he goes, ha ha, I fooled you. We would go, well, you shouldn't lie to people like that.
You guys are so desperate to catch somebody.
It's not hard. There's a million examples.
And I have the video on my channel.
Oh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that one was pretty damning.
My question is, so what?
Well, no, here's...
What do you want from me? I mean, you guys think it's okay. You know, I find it funny that you guys are so pointing a finger.
I'm trying to tell you so what. You asked the question. You said so what?
I find it very difficult to take seriously.
Are you going to let me speak?
That you guys are saying, because how many?
Are you going to let me speak?
Initial videos.
Are you going to let me speak?
You guys are always.
Are you going to let me speak?
At Christians.
Are you going to let me speak?
Outrageous and heinous things.
Are you going to let me speak?
I mean, for crying out loud.
Are you going to let me speak?
Wait a minute. Wait, let me finish.
You asked a question. I'm trying to answer it.
Wait. Well, you can answer after I'm finished, ma'am. Please.
So you can ask a question and not let anybody answer it.
Elongated 2-minute pauses like you do in the middle of your speeches, Fiona, but please let me finish. All right?
Oh, sick
Don't
burn.
ask any more questions then, Vekel.
Well, can you answer
You asked a
in a
question.
debate?
You
In
said
a
so
proper
what?
debate format, when a person asks a question, the person's going to answer usually waits till they finish their questioning before they answer the question.
You actually had stopped, Vekel. You actually had stopped. And I started answering it.
That's
Look,
correct.
all I'm saying, fellas,
And you started talking over me.
look, to me, it doesn't matter. Let me say it this way. All I'm saying is that it's kind of difficult for me to take seriously a lot of the complaints that you're making when I've seen just about every single person in this hangout right now has done some ridicule, has said some awful things about some of these people, and you claiming a so-called CCP. It's very difficult for me. It might not be difficult for another person, but it's difficult for me. I've had every last one of you say some really harsh things about me here on G+.
I've never threatened you.
I'm going to answer this question still, Vekel.
You guys complain about the things that G-Man...
We call you out on your bullshit. We don't threaten you with doc dropping.
I disagree with you.
When have I ever threatened you?
If G-Man, no, you've said some horrible things about me, okay?
Hey, Beckel, admittedly, I have told you to go fuck yourself many times, but I have never threatened to doc drop you or anything like that. I never threatened your life. I never threatened your docs. I never done any of the shit that you guys have been doing or threatening me with.
And to be fair, Red's rhetoric tells
what have I threatened you with?
So there's that.
Yes, on a somewhat moderately urgent note, where's Steve? I see 10 on the film strip. I don't see Steve. I see 2 Fionas.
I think it's because of the Fionas.
Maybe he dropped out.
It stopped streaming before I even got in, though.
Oh, it says Steve McRae left the group chat.
Damn it.
Yeah, the video stopped streaming. Vekel, shut it and let me explain here. The stream stopped before I even got in. It stopped streaming live on YouTube. There's a problem with Google. And I said that to you all when I came in.
So what do we do?
I can watch it. It's still on for me.
Hopefully Steve's starting